restriction word is directly related to space. And this space is something that is, I am confined. And if you see the birds, they themselves limit their own self. You see, birds do not move around from area to area. What crow, pigeon, sparrow you see in and around your area are the same day in, day out. Even though they have the freedom of movement, they still will hover around in the same place. So it is in a way self-limiting. The word is self-limiting. They limit their own self. So our cases will give you this idea about restriction, that they can actually break free, but they can't. मैं चाहूं तो मैं इधर से निकल सकती हूं. ये जो मैंने अपने लिए एक सीमा बनाया है, मैं उसी में रहना चाहती हूं. That is the way how their self-limitation comes. And with this self-limitation, there is this shrink and expansion, the polarity. I shrink my ideas, my visions, my aims. मुझे जो भी करना है, जो मैं चाहता हूं करना, वो सभी चीजों को मैं अपने आप में सिकुड़ लिया हूं. Are you getting the idea that I have made such a limitation for myself that all the vision that I have, all the thing that I want to do, all those things I have made it small for myself. My world has become a very small world. And that is how that world of family comes. परिवार के बाती मेरा जो जिम्मेदारी है, ये जिम्मेदारी से ज्यादा अपने लिए एक सीमा बनाया हूं. I made a small world of my own. And I am limited in that small world. Are you getting the idea? Yeah. So the idea, just don't say restriction. For the birds, the idea of restriction is to feel limited, to feel confined, to have no space, to have no contact with the vast outer world. And this makes my world to be shrunk small. I'm in that small little world of my own. And I just do not want to move out of this world. If I move out, then this world is an expanded world. And that expanded world gives me the idea of being light. Give me the idea of floating around. Give me idea of that vastness. So on one side it is a small space, on the other side it is the vast world. The world that does not have any boundaries. The world that does not have any limitations. And finally, the world that does not have any restrictions. And therefore, with these limitations, I feel clutched. And when I move out of this limitation, the idea of being released. So the opposite polarity of being clutched and released. And
So these restrictions are made by them only, no?
Yeah, they have made their own restriction. You see
Like
all
family.
the birds. You see even migratory bird. They'll not go, if they have to come from California to Rajasthan, they'll not go to Australia. They'll have the same route year after year and the same place to land. But we say, wow, they have such a good freedom. So we have not actually understood what is that freedom. Are you getting? Because these people have got self-imposed. It is called as self-imposed limitation. And therefore, it has to stay within the limit. It is not that they're forced to stay, but they are staying by their own will. Nobody is forcing them. Whereas if you see the horse, for that matter, example, it is the horse who is being chained. It has been hooked. It has been nailed. Somebody else is restricting them. Are you getting this? For the horse type of people, the wordings will be, I am being restricted by somebody else. But the birds on the other hand will say, if I want to, I can move out. But moving out is dangerous. Because then I have to go against the law of self-imposed limitation. And therefore, I can be victimized. I can be overpowered. अगर मैं उड़ के किधर और चले जाऊं तो मेरे लिए वो धोखा रहेगा, जान का खतरा रहेगा. And thus I prefer to stay within my own limitation. For example, marriage is a limitation, na? How many of them you will see they are not happy in the marriage life? लेकिन चल रहा है, समाज है, society is there, family norms are there. I don't like it, doctor, but I have to follow those orders. So marriage is a place where we put ourselves into that limitation. We choose to do that. Yes or no?
What makes them do that?
सामाजिक तौर पे सोसाइटी है. What will people say? What will elders in the family say? अरे बहू आई है, जीन्स टी शर्ट पहनती है.
Image.
Not only image, that differs from person to person. For someone, it will be image. For someone, it will be like bird, that I am restricted, I restrict myself to do this. Someone would be saying, hell with it, I don't want to follow whatever the family is telling. I'll do what I want to do. They might be a rebel. Right? But the common theme is that I have chosen to get married, and now this married life has become a sort of restriction for me, and in that I have to follow the norms of the family because of social bindings, family bindings, whatever it could be. But the bird will say, I have created this particular boundary for myself.
So they are happy to limit themselves, yes, sir?
Yeah, they are happy to limit themselves, but also that bothers them. The idea is that they just cannot break out of this limitation. They feel confined in this limitation. They feel that this limitation is like a small space. What you see like in nitrogen also. Claustrophobic. And then the desire is in a way to get out of this limitation, to remove this restriction. That is the opposite side of the polarity. I want to get out of this limitation. I want to just move out of this limitation. I want to move out of this restriction. And the idea behind that moving out is to broaden these boundaries. I want to broaden these boundaries. I want this vastness. Similarly, what you will see in the caryophyllates, the cactus, expansion and shrinking. Yes or no? So they form a group. The caryophyllates, the birds, and the third row of the periodic table. They form a group called as the third superorder. So the idea of third superorder is the idea of limitations, self-imposed limitations. To that of the opposite polarity is the idea of expansion, the vastness, the limitless. The idea of broadening the boundaries, to come out of the cage. And not actually coming out, it is not actually coming out, but the idea of going from a small space to a larger space. Are you getting? छोटा सा जगह से निकलकर बड़ा जगह में जाना. That is the idea. Where you will see natrum, magnesium are within the small space. The family, the mother, the need of the mother. And as on how you move to the right side, you will see sulfur, phosphorus, all these people to move out of the house. To have friends. To have larger group of people. Not like natrum, magnesium, limited to the family members. Are you getting? The natrum, magnesium are limited to the family, a small, limited within the boundaries, whereas the phosphorus, sulfur want to cross that boundary and go into that vast space of friends, of different culture people, different cities, different towns, different way of lifestyle. This is what they want to explore. The word is explore. That is how you will see from the mineral world. Therefore, the third row of the mineral kingdom, the birds and the caryophyllates of the plant, they come together to form one group called as the third superorder. And thus, the whole central idea that actually floats around into these three kingdoms having the common understanding is about limiting and expanding, shrinking and expansion, limiting and unlimiting. Is that clear? Absolutely clear? Beautiful, na? नींद उड़ जाता है कि नहीं? Now coming to Falco peregrinus. For Falco peregrinus, the main feeling is that I am trapped. I am caged over here. I am restricted over here. This is the sensitivity of Falco. That I am trapped, caged, restricted. And the function for the falco is the desire to break free the shackles and get free. I want to break these shackles and get free. And since it is the fastest bird on the sky, there will be a lot of words that will depict the speed of the bird. काफी शब्द उनके स्पीड के ऊपर डिपेंड होता है. Zoop, fast. These are the common words that they will use. Zoop, swift movement, fast pace, gives the idea of the speed of the bird. But the main feeling is that I'm trapped, caged, restricted. And the desire is to break this and become free.